Okay then.
You're gonna make it easy on me, right?
Super easy.
Okay, good.
Nicky, can I start?
Yeah.
I read an interview you did with Asphalt and Rubber, the American. You were kind of complaining a little bit because you were struggling with the new fireplay. Then use a new machine, a lot better in theory. What were those problems? Mainly?
Yeah, well, I think sometimes the media ask you right after the session, and of course I'm a competitive guy, I'm a racer, so I want to be in the front immediately, and sometimes that's not possible when you have a brand new bike and everything is so new. So I realize we have time to go, but after the session, of course you say stuff that you're probably not always supposed to. I should be experienced enough to wait a while, but it's just, actually the base is really good. It's just we need more time to dial it in for race trim, and we see the bike has a lot of potential, and it's just a matter of time. So let's stay positive and keep working.
When I saw the new SP2, I thought, there's a massive change from the last year's pack. But I think the World Superbike team already did those changes on their bike.
Well, it's true, some of the changes we already did. Obviously, the Flybywire, which is such a big step up for the bike, and street trim, we were already doing in World Superbike. I noticed it very clearly because when I went and did the Suzuka 8-hour last year endurance race, we weren't allowed to use fly-by-wire. So for me, it was the first time in many years I don't have blip, have to use the clutch and the throttle, the back shifting. And it was funny, when I first tested the SB2, it was already much better electronics on this than the bike I used in
endurance.
In factory HRC bike. So that was probably the thing that impressed me the most.
Okay. And when you moved to the World Superbikes, I thought that Honda promised you something that when you moved there, because you knew that the bike wasn't competitive enough for a MotoGP World Champion. What did they promise? It was this bike, this new fireplay?
Well, there was never something in the contract. There was no written promise, but it was understood that the second year would be a new bike. So yeah,
this is it, the new bike. Okay.
Where are you now before the start of the season in terms of development on this bike?
Very beginning. It's true that the team has really only had 2 weeks really with the bike. So there's a lot of things on the bike at the moment we're still kind of using from last year's bike. The gas tank, for example, the new tank is not ready. Some of the parts, the swing arm, in fact, is still basically last year's swing arm. So it's early stages. It's going to come in time. The first 2 races will be a bit tricky because, the bikes already leave for Australia this week. And once they go over there, they can't ship them back. They ship them straight to Thailand, so there's no testing. And also, we have engine limit. So once they seal the first set of engines, it can't change. So we need the 2 days testing at Phillip Island. Hopefully we have good weather for that and can really make a big step.
You're going to have to manage expectations for those 2 first rounds.
Well, it's true. I think Phillip Island, luckily for us, is a track where, it's a lot more about the chassis and the handling and than the engine and things. So hopefully that we can mask some of our problems.
Do you think the bike can win this year?
This year, I hope. I don't know about the first race, but I certainly hope this year we can have a winning bike.
Okay. I was concerned about the championship's future, Superbike, once torn apart. And I wanted to just know your thoughts on it. Like, do you see like a lot of success in the coming years, or maybe losing a bit of attention because of the MotoGP?
Well, last year was my first year. Last year MotoGP had an amazing year. So it's tough to compete with that. Rivals are fighting, 9 different winners. Obviously that's not easy. But I've enjoyed the change to Superbike. I like the bikes. As far as the performance, we see my lap time. I was at the tracks we both raced at. A lot of times I was just as fast on the Superbike as I was the year before on the open MotoGP bike. The championship, the caliber is really high. The riders are high, and the racing is good. I like the 2 races on the weekend. I really enjoy that. I like some of the places we go. We get to go to Laguna Seca, my favorite track in the world. So of course, there's things I miss in MotoGP, some of that intensity, some of that atmosphere. But World Superbike has been a good change for me, and I think the championship have a lot of potential. I really already this year we see more good riders on good bikes. Yes,
For you?
yes, ma'am. You know, sponsors like Red Bull coming in board. There's a lot.
You mentioned Laguna Seca. Was other tracks that you're missing from the calendar? I know Monza.
Well, I never raced Monza, so I don't know. Imola was nice. The track was very challenging, but also very unique. I was happy to go there. I like Thailand because it was my first time being there, and they're crazy for motorcycles. Lots of spectators that really all come to the track with their scooters, and that was a good event.
From a physical point of view, are you at 100% now?
I would say I'm getting close. You know, I mean, in the Jerez test, I was still a little bit stiff and sore, and in Portimao better. So hopefully in these next 2 weeks, I can gain the last bit of range of motion and strength in my knee and be very close to 100%.
Do you know if the factory support is more important now with the bike?
Well, I think factory support is always nice. I mean, it's good. I think with the new bike, it would probably be better just because they have a head start. But the deal, I realize our team is not a factory-supported team, so we do. 10K have to do it on their own.
Okay.
You've had a year within this paddock now. Obviously, got a new bike, but you've got a year of experience and data to go on. What do you take from last year's experience into this year?
Well, I learned a lot in the first year. There were some new tracks I had to learn. Also, the 2 races on the weekend was something different, and also the one bike. You know, in World Superbike, we only have one bike. So you have to approach some of the sessions a little different. The strategies a little different. Also, the way you set up the bike. There's certain things you can't change on Superbike, particularly with the transmission. MotoGP, you know, you could really just pull the gearbox out, change 3rd gear, 5th gear, and dial it in. Where Superbike, you have one set of gear, you can only change the final ratio, maybe have to. So many times you find yourself in a bit of a compromise. That was something to get used to, but it's all part of the game.
Tom Sykes mentioned in the winter that with changes in technical regulation, not just the headline ones, everything feels, it's, in his words, getting older spec, even though it's new technology. Do you share any similar thoughts on that?
You know, Tom would have a better. I mean, he's been in the championship longer than me, so for our bike, we can't use the split throttle next year, but that was something that we weren't using a lot of anyway, and when we tested without it, it didn't make a big difference. So I can't say too much, but I mean, I don't think the level's too far behind. We've seen some Superbike guys going as fast, if not faster, than the MotoGP guys when they were on the track at the same time. So I don't think it's too far behind.
It's just a surprising comment given that it's
Yeah.
9 times bigger than you see, and yet he said that.
You good?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, let's get ready to move downstairs. We'll bring up the other 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Just one last thing. What's the position you will be happy with at the end of the season?
Ask me after Phillip Island test. I was sure last year I was 5th, and I had 3 mechanical DNFs and had to start from pit road once. So without that, I mean, I surely would have been 4th. So I can't be happy with anything worse than that.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thanks very much, Nicky.
Cheers. All the best.
There we go.